Hey, everybody. Hello to each and every one of you out there today. How are you doing? I hope that you're all doing very well. And I tell you what, I'm doing very well too. Glad to be back amongst each of you again. And I tell you what, I really do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for tuning in to me today. And as always, I want to welcome all of you to another episode of TJ's Topics. And if you don't know who I am by now, then what your problem is? Oh, I'm just playing with you. I am TJ. That's me. And I tell you what, I'm certainly happy to be with you. Such an honor and a joy and a privilege to be able to come into your presence on any given occasion. And I tell you what, it just brings so much joy and excitement and happiness and everything else to me to be able to do this. And and I know I don't have anything fancy. What I do is not fancy, but it's just something that I enjoy doing. And ever since we had the pandemic and all that, and I first started pilling around with YouTube and stuff, I think I've gotten pretty good at it. And so I just like to get on here for a few minutes and have fun with you all and try to entertain you a little bit if I can and make you laugh, but also share a little information with you. Try to offer a little bit of insight if I may. And so I'm very grateful to have these opportunities. Now, today, I would like to talk with you very briefly about something. And to be honest with you, I don't know how in the world this came to me, but I guess it came to me as a result of this past weekend. We had Mother's Day and everything, and we had a very good Mother's Day. Very thankful for my mother and all of the other women in my family who are mothers as well, such as my sister and my aunt, my cousin, and different ones, former co-workers and current co-workers, neighbors, and what have you. And I'm grateful for all of them as well. But one thing that I think about is the fact that it's never a good idea to share too much with too many people. And I don't care if they're family or friends or neighbors, co-workers, or even church members, for those of you who attend church. It's never a good idea to share too much with too many. And I probably should title this message that. I really should, but I tell you what, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Sharing too much with too many, it's never a good idea. I like to focus on not sharing too much with family members, but sometimes you have to go beyond just relatives and stuff. You gotta deal with outside folks too, because um, you know how it is sometimes. We have to interact with people on a daily basis. I don't care who it is. Everywhere we go out here, there's somebody that we have to deal with. We have to talk to. And part of getting to know people is, you know, asking questions. They taught us on Sesame Street when I was little that asking questions is a good way to find out something. Well, asking questions is also a good way to get to know people. However, there are times when people can go overboard in their endeavor to get to know others. And they can ask certain types of questions that sometimes people just don't feel comfortable answering, especially when they're in the presence of a crowd, such as other family members or friends or neighbors or people who they work with, classmates. Like sometimes children can, they like to get on their classmates' nerves at school, their little buddies and stuff, asking a lot of deep personal questions about different things. And that can cause major problems and issues for whoever the person is that's being interrogated, because that's what that is interrogation. That can be very uncomfortable for an individual. And there have been many instances where students have gone home and they felt so miserable and upset and, because they felt like they were being bullied in a sense. And sometimes that can lead to suicide, on these children's part. And that's never a good thing. So while it's good to get to know people and asking questions is a good way to get to know folks, we have to be careful about the type of questions that we ask people right off the bat, especially if it's somebody that you're just meeting for the first time. And even if you've known people for a long time, you have to be mindful of the type of questions that you ask and the type of responses that you give if and when those questions that you ask an individual have been answered by that individual. Because sometimes you can ask a question to somebody, and though they may be uncomfortable answering that question, they'll go ahead and answer it just to try to get you off their back. And they hope that they will. And if they answer the question, maybe you're going about your business. But sometimes, that's not the case. And people will just go on and on and on, asking all these in-depth questions, trying to dig deeper into your business, trying to get into your personal life. And they don't realize that all they're doing is just digging a deeper ditch, and that can be worrisome for a lot of people. So, and I've had many experiences like that where people got me in front of a crowd, especially when I was in school and even around church members and family, because family, they can be the worst sometimes. Asking a whole lot of questions and, it can really be hectic. But you try to be cordial, you try to be respectful and everything. You don't want to come across as being, angry and, being mad and want to fight and do it. You try to be nice. But, sometimes people take your kindness for weakness. And I tell you, they don't care how they make you feel. All they want to do is just dip and dab into your business, hoping that they can get a certain reaction from you. And if they can get that reaction, they're satisfied then. If they can piss you off, because that's usually what they're trying to do. They're trying to see how you're going to respond. And if they get a certain type of response from you, then you have made their day. Well, I'm not in the business of trying to make anybody's day as a result of flying off the handle. That's not what I care to do, because I'm not into drama. But some people thrive on creating drama for others. They're not happy unless there's something going on. They just feel like there needs to be something happening all the time. They can never feel good about a situation being peaceful. And some people don't even want to live in neighborhoods that are peaceful. They want to live somewhere where there's always something happening. That's why there are a lot of people who would rather live in the hood. they'd rather live in the projects, or, live in a certain neighborhood where there's always a little bit of crime going on, shooting and killing and stuff. They don't want to live amongst quiet, peaceful neighbors, older people and stuff like that, folks who mind their own business, people who are, if they have families and stuff, raising children, they're raising their children how to be respectful of authority and their elders and stuff like that. They don't want to be in places like that, in neighborhoods such as those. They want to be somewhere where there's chaos on every hand. And that's not the kind of neighborhood that I envision living in. Because I'm not a chaotic person, and I don't care to dwell with chaotic individuals. I don't care who they are. I just don't have time for that. And, really life is too short to be dealing with that kind of crap anyway, when you think about it. So that's all I have to say today on sharing too much with too many. Because believe me, if you try to share, if you go overboard with sharing your life with other people, telling them about this and that, and there are 3 things that you definitely don't want to share with everybody. And they are, number 1, your love life. You don't want to have folks all in your personal business with regards to who you're dealing with on an intimate level. Who you're sleeping with, who you're involved with and stuff like that. That people love that kind of stuff. Number 2, your finances. Everybody doesn't need to know how much money you make, how much money you have in your bank account, or how much money you spend on a daily or weekly basis. That's none of their business either, especially if they're not the ones who sign your paycheck and who pay your salary and who are offering to help pay your bills and run your household. That's not their business. And finally, number 3, what your next move will be. They don't need to know that either, because sometimes people will try to block you from whatever it is that you hope to do in your lifetime. Because if it's something that they have never done themselves, then quite naturally, they don't feel too enthusiastic about seeing someone else go above and beyond where they are, overachieving them and reaching a greater level of success than they have, because basically their ship is sailed. So again, I'm through. And I want to thank you so much. Thank you for being patient with me and for tuning in to another episode of TJ's Topics. I really appreciate it. And be sure to share it with somebody, or like and comment, subscribe to my little channel. And I will try to offer you a little bit of insight and information, as well as entertainment, as much as I possibly can. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And be sure to come back again when I have something else on a topic of interest. So until we meet again, this is Taryn Jerome Harris. And I would like to remind each and every one of you out there that every round goes higher and higher. Look forward to seeing you again soon. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.